Time to play the game. Time to play the game.
Well, it's in the books. It is officially behind us. Nick, was it everything you thought it would be?
I think so. I really didn't know what to expect, to be honest with you. But it seemed like it was a really good event.
You think it was everything you thought it was supposed to be?
I think so. What about you?
I was freaking happy with it. I mean, here's the thing. From start to finish, and we're going to get there in a minute and go through everything. I feel like it was a chick flick. We laughed. We cried.
We
got angry at each other.
That did happen.
We were sweating. We were out of breath at certain points. That sounds wrong, but it's not what you think. It was laser tag.
But you also did not buy me ice cream. I had to buy my own ice cream.
No. That was the down parts of the chick flick.
Right. Yeah. I drowned my sorrows in ice cream.
I've got my tea, and I'm ready to do this podcast. Where do we start? The beginning, right?
I think so. I mean, we've talked about this in the past in some of our other Facebook Lives and podcasts, but I mean, this thing kind of grew out of, we do all these other events, and, the teams do mean something, but they don't really mean much more than that's just kind of who you're going to roll with that day. And some of the teams got really serious about, talking trash and building up their numbers. So, I think it was your idea to say, hey, let's make them mean something. And thus the rally games were born.
A team game, a team sport. Yeah. What the teams really are is when you do these rallies, you got 40 cars and you're going to get broken up naturally, whether it's the flow of traffic, whether it's intersections or whatever. So you want to have your 2, 3, 4 people in their cars that are going to be sticking with you. That way, if anyone has car trouble, anyone goes down or whatever, you don't get split up, no one gets lost, no one gets left behind, that kind of thing. And the team's got territorial, to say the least. So first off, let's address something, right? The way we did this event is, Nick, you put it best. I mean, everyone's done a scavenger hunt at some point. It's always like, find a blank and bring it back, and go get a blank and bring it with you, and take one of these. And in 2019, what better way to do a scavenger hunt than with your phone? Because now everyone has the best camera they've ever owned in their life sitting in their pocket or their purse, right?
Yeah.
So we came up with, I don't even have it in front of me. Holy hell. Oh, here's one. How many pages was it, Nick?
It was almost 5 complete pages. There were 37, 38 challenges on that page. And then the night before Rally Games, I went ahead and made a more traditional page, so that upped it to 45 or so challenges or, riddles or whatever that people could do. But almost everything was take a picture of this, prove you did it by a video, post it to Facebook, that kind of thing, because we weren't going to have people bring back, a bag full of junk that we were just going to throw away. So,
right. I would have kept it. But yeah, we had 5 pages. I'm looking at it right here, 5 pages of challenges. And we came up with this. It was before Road to the Dragon, man. And it's hard to imagine, but it was before Road to the Dragon, and we came up with this. And literally, when we were not planning, all right, Road to the Dragon, logistics, routes, what are we doing? We were working on this and trying to think of challenges and coordinating with local partners and sponsors and businesses and stuff like that. We had the coveted belt. I say had. Yeah. Holy shit, who has it now?
We don't know. The winning team has it, but it's funny because all along, we were saying we're keeping the belt, but you can display it on your car at car shows that we're at and stuff like that. And man, we'll get to the winning team and all that, but they just snatched it and walked right out with it. So.
Yeah. Well, fucking A, they earned it, man.
Yeah, they did. There's no question.
So yeah, back to what we were saying though, we had everything was like, take a picture and send it to us in a message, post it here, share it here, tag here, whatever. And the real reason is your phone is like the nicest camera you'll ever own, right? And it takes this great stuff, and that's an easy way to prove it. Just click, and it's done, as opposed to capturing, gathering, or whatever, like we were talking about. But more so, what I wanted to talk about, and Nick, you and I kind of went into this before we rolled out the rally games, which, by the way, if none of y'all are going to say it, you know what, Nick? I'll say it. Great fucking job to us for keeping this under wraps, under the hat. I mean, I don't know, but keeping it a secret.
That's true.
This entire time. I mean,
nobody had any indication of what we were going to do. I mean, we had even like John Willett was talking to Royce, who was a new participant to our events, and Royce was talking to him and said, I don't really have any idea what I signed up for. And John said, neither do I, to be honest with you. I've done a lot of their events before, and this time I truly have no idea what to expect. So really, literally nobody knew.
Yep. President of Jacksonville area Mopar, he's hit me up. Hey man, so what do I need to know? Not shit. That's what you need to know.
Just show up with everybody else.
And Charles, hey man, I'm actually working that day, so I can't participate. So what do I need to know? Well, not shit. You don't even need to know that you're one of the challenges and you're going to be drawing pictures for people. You don't need to know nothing.
Yeah, he didn't even know that. So if he didn't know he was part of the challenges, then you can imagine no one else knew anything about anything.
Right. So we've explained the picture thing, but why would you and I structure an event where it's like, tag us, share this, post this, like this, blah, 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 right? Why would we do that? Well, Nick and I, with our backgrounds, we are fortunate enough to understand this thing called Facebook. And you guys have probably noticed before that you may have 300 friends, not you, Nick, but other people might have 300 friends, and you may not always see the content that they're posting. You may sit there thinking, I thought we were friends, and you go search them and find out, yeah, you still are friends. You're just not seeing their stuff anymore. And it's just this huge, complex algorithm, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the way it works, Facebook, believe it or not, wants it to be all about Facebook and their platform. They don't want you sharing things from YouTube and sharing things from ESPN and Fox News and all this. They don't want that. They want all the content to live right there on Facebook. They don't want you clicking and leaving Facebook. They want it all right there. So what Facebook does, they created this huge complex formula that basically says the more activity that's really organic and lives right there on Facebook, the more we're going to push it and we're going to promote it and we're going to show it to more people. And then you can extend out of your networks into more audience extensions and have more audience reach. And that's how things start to go, the V word, viral. Am I explaining this correctly? I'm not the tech person.
Yep, no, that's correct.
So what we were going to do is use Genesis Rally and our page as a platform to promote what you guys were doing. So what was this really all about? We wanted everyone, hey, like the page, share the page, tag the page, and do this, do that, so that we could get as much organic attention on our platform as possible, so that people could see the good that you guys did during the rally games. And by the way, if you weren't on the rally games, you were working, you sat this one out, whatever it is, let me tell you what we really did, because you saw some funny videos going up, right? And you're probably thinking, holy shit, what are these guys doing? You saw some funny stuff. You saw some really random stuff just popping up all over Facebook. But what we really did, we really did some good stuff. I'm really proud of this. So just some examples. Nick, you want to go through some of these?
Yeah, let's definitely do it. So some of the stuff we had for challenges, obviously was fun and silly, and we'll get to that in just a second. But, the good you're talking about, one of the first things that you and I talked about, one of the first challenges that came up was, let's fill up a bag of trash at the beach. That was one of the very first things.
Immediately you tried to stretch a bag around my car.
I did. So I think all the teams except for maybe one did the bag of trash. So some people filled up the bag of trash at the beach over at Jack's Beach. Some people did it at boat ramps. Some people went to parks. Some people went to lakes. Some people went to the river. I mean, all in all, you know, what was it, like 100 gallons of trash or something like that was cleaned up, you know, by the participants of the rally games. I mean, that's really cool. That's something that wouldn't have happened that day had we not made that a challenge and had people not accepted the challenge. So I mean, that's one example for sure.
I've lived in Jacksonville 13 or 14 years now. But I've lived all over Florida, Central Florida, South Florida, and all that. And it's easy to forget. Okay, I'm speaking for myself here. It's easy to forget we're a coastal town, we're a beach town. You know, sometimes it feels a little more like South Georgia, right? Or it feels a little more I don't know. It's just easy to forget. And Jacksonville and the St. John's River and the beaches, I mean, it's a big part of this city and this community. So it was really cool to give back in some sort of way and clean it up, man. Yeah,
for sure. So we got people to clean up trash. Another thing we did that was kind of cool was thank a JSO officer and a first responder or a first responder in the community. That took a lot of different life forms because we didn't say how. We didn't say go give them a high five. Some people took their pictures with them. Some people brought Gatorade to fire stations. Some people just did literally go up and shake the hands of police officers. I mean, it was cool, and a lot of them were caught off guard but very appreciative of just the nice gesture of thanking a first responder.
Yeah, you got to think these guys all day long approach car windows with people that are not happy to see them.
Yeah.
So, and they get freaking, I think, beat up in the news sometimes over some of these stories and everything, but they do a hell of a lot for us. And they're the first ones you call when you need them and everything. So it was really cool to reach out and thank them because believe it or not, with all that they do for us, it's not often that they're thanked. So we cleaned up the beaches. We thanked our JSO, Sheriff's Office, and some other first responders. We didn't just thank Jacksonville Fire and Rescue. We hung out with them, man. There's some really cool pictures going around, funny ones too, of people hanging out by the trucks at the fire stations and wearing all the equipment. And there's a newfound appreciation there that, some people have never known, or maybe they haven't remembered since they were a kid and a firefighter came to their school or something like that. But that equipment's freaking heavy, man.
Yeah. And
really heavy.
One thing that's kind of cool is, the challenge was basically go get your picture taken on a fire truck. Bonus points if you wear any equipment. And legitimately, people were wearing the full get up, like the helmet, the jacket, the pants, the air tank. I mean, everything. It's pretty funny. It was just cool to see. Another one we did.
They brought, like you said, some of them just brought Gatorades and was like, hey, guys, thank you so much. We're in a scavenger hunt. We got to take a picture real quick. And they let him get in the whole getup. One of the girls from Dirty Divas came running up to me in a freaking JFRD t-shirt. And she goes, they gave me their shirt. Is that bonus points? I'm like, fuck, that's cool. No, it's no bonus points.
Dude, on that note, there were a lot of people throughout the day who reached out to me and you individually. And they're like, hey, if we do this, can we get bonus points? And it's like, you want to say yes, but the answer is no, because no one else can get those bonus points. So we can't do that.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, it made the day of some first responders and stuff. One thing that I thought was really cool is we just said, do something good for the community.
Yeah. This was my favorite one.
Yeah. And we just left it at that. I mean, we didn't say at all what it was. It's just do something good. And to validate it, it was depends on what you did, but make sure we know. And dude, there was some really cool stuff that happened and some funny things that came out as a result of it.
Yep. We had someone purchase a full tank of gas for a complete stranger. Just walk up, they saw him pull up to a gas pump, and they just beat him to it, swiped their card, and bought him a full tank of gas. And we all know being car people, whether it's big block Hemis or big old trucks or whatever, that gas ain't cheap. And so that's really nice, so that happened. Drinks were brought over to Everbank Field to some of the stadium staff that was out there cleaning the grounds and and cleaning up the facility and everything. And by the way, when we did this, what was the heat index, Nick? 104 or 102?
Yeah, it was brutal. We set up at 8:15 in the morning, and it was already probably in the 80s. I mean, and this was probably 2-3 in the afternoon when they did that. So
yeah,
it's definitely hot.
So brought drinks to those workers and cooled them off. And my favorite one that I heard, we ended at Bravo's, which if you don't know, I mean, there's laser tag and there's like the trampoline park and there's arcade and Ninja Warrior course and a restaurant and bowling and all sorts of stuff. So we end at Bravo's, and some little girl was there hanging out with her dad. I would say a little older than a toddler. And someone went and just bought him a gift card right there for Bravo's and walked it over and handed it to her. And that freaking made her day. That made her day. It was at the finish line. It was like the final thing they did. But here's this little girl in an arcade. And, you know, if you have a kid or if you remember when you were a kid, you know, you just, however much your parent gives you for the arcade is just not enough. You want a little more. And someone just gives her a freaking arcade. I mean, she lit up. It made her day.
I think it was a $50. I think it was a $50 gift card.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
On top of someone buying a stranger a full tank of gas, one of the challenges was pump gas for a stranger. So once again, here we are with the heat index into the hundreds, and some people didn't have to get out of their car, you know, just reach over and pump the gas for them. Complete strangers. And you don't hear stuff like that anymore. I mean, these are the feel-good things that don't happen anymore.
And to that point, you know, the challenge for pumping someone's gas legitimately said you do not need to buy the gas. So the buying a gas for a stranger was just random to fill up another challenge.
Yeah, random act of kindness. Yeah.
Yep.
And another one, and this was really cool for multiple reasons. It's the last one we'll talk about, but pay respects at the Veterans Wall. Now, there's two of these. There's one at Everbank Field, and there's one at the Veterans Memorial Arena. And one is dedicated to servicemen and women from the military, and the other one is for, I believe it's firefighters and police officers. So what was cool about this is a lot of people, I mean, they have it on video. They're just up there reading the names on the wall and moment of silence and praying. And we didn't care how you paid respects, but do it.
Mm-hmm.
And prove to us in some sort of way that you did it. And I had a few teams come back and say, you know, like, we have been to so many games or concerts and walked right past these things, had no idea they were there.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool, not only to do this, but to kind of enlighten someone that these are here and around. So there were some debates and questioning at the end of the rally games as to, well, you know, was it really about a scavenger hunt or was it about just sharing on social and blah, 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 blah? And the answer is the reason, I guess I should say, is because we needed to get as many eyes as possible on the good that you guys did. It was really about you guys that day, and we did a lot. Again, from first responders to the paying respects to the veterans and cleaning up our waterways and doing things for strangers and doing something good for the community. It was really awesome, and that's all about it.
And look, I mean, you know, it'd be one thing for us to sit here and say that the idea of our name getting out to your Facebook followers was not, you know, in our minds, but a lot of the stuff on these challenges didn't have to be posted anywhere. And some of it was posted to our event page or send us a Facebook message. Most of the stuff that was posted was like the good stuff or the things we thought were going to be funny. So it was twofold, you know, it's one, it gets us out there, but two, it shows people that A, you're having fun, and B, you're doing something cool in the meantime.
Yep. All right. Sappy feel good aside. Nick, how are we on time?
We are we're 20 minutes in so far.
Well, strap in, John Willett, because this is another one you're going to listen to the whole thing to. These are our favorite moments from the rally games. And damn it, we talked about this last night. So we know this is I'm looking at the list right now. This is our official list of favorite moments. Are you going to hit it with him, Nick? You want me to hit him with it?
You can hit him with it.
Listen, bada boom. Realest guys in the room. How you doing?
Mm-hmm. How you doing?
Mm-hmm. How you doing? All right. Carpool karaoke. Freaking hilarious. One of the things we had people do, they had to go see Tommy up at Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge on Atlantic Boulevard. And when they got there, the receptionist at the desk, they said, "Oh, hey, we're with the rally games." She just handed them keys. They had to go find which car it went to on the showroom floor, get in it, turn on the car, and put dealer's choice, whatever song you wanted to. But they had to put up the camera and record all 4 of their teammates in the car doing a carpool karaoke. Freaking hilarious. So one of the teams, what team was it? Was it Pop and Smoke?
Doing Pop and Smoke.
Yeah. So carpool karaoke, like Nick and I split up, right? And we're trying to get out there and see all of these teams and try to get as much footage as possible. So I happen to be at the dealership, and these teams are like arguing. I don't know the words to that one. Well, just look it up real quick. Just pull up the lyrics. It's not hard. So Pop and Smoke pulls up, and they're like, you know what, we're gonna do Tequila, and they just sat there for like a minute and a half, and then they all just go Tequila, and that was it. That was their carpool karaoke, and it was freaking hilarious because I had just watched like 3 or 4 teams literally get into arguments and nearly come to blows over who knows what songs. So that was awesome.
And I'm up at Tire Outlet at this point, and Pop and Smoke shows up to Tire Outlet, and they're like, "Hey, does this count?" And they show me the video, and I'm dying laughing, and they're bobbing their heads around, and then they just say Tequila, and I'm like, yeah, it counts.
That's awesome.
I think one of the funniest things was Team Freight Train, though. So they
got to get it together.
They're in a badass Jeep with no roof, no doors, no windows. And this is them singing. Hold on, let's see if I can get it to play.
No escape in reality. Open your eyes. Look up in the sky.
Oof.
15 more seconds. Don't stop yet.
It's so funny. It's the best one for sure.
Well, I was like, I hadn't heard this one yet, and Nick's like, "Oh, it's bad, and I was like, "Well, what's wrong with it?" And Nick was like, the key, the tune, the melody, their timing."
Yeah, all of it's bad. And listen,
so now I want you guys to picture this. Let's say you're not part of the rally games. You're sitting in a dealership, like showroom floor at one of the desks, and you're like signing your paperwork on a car that you're trying to buy, or you're in the middle of negotiating, and all of a sudden, here come people jumping in one of the cars, singing and leaving. So everyone's describing to me the setting of the showroom floor and people trying to get business done. It was freaking hilarious, man.
That's so funny. It's so freaking funny.
Next on the list, we had that challenge. We just talked a lot about it. Do something good. So one of the teams gave money to a homeless person, right? That's something we didn't talk about a minute ago, but do something good for the community. We don't care what you do, just do something. Well, they got to an intersection, put the window down, gave some money to the homeless person. They then got cursed out by the homeless person because it wasn't enough money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not awesome, but it's awesome. Next one, Tire Outlet. So Charles, one of the things we did, hey, go up to Tire Outlet and get you a quote on a set of Nittos or Yokohamas. Now, why would we do that? Because Charles works with us on a lot of our events, but I'm being so serious when I say that you will not get a better price on tires in town. He just takes really good care of people. Well, everyone at Tire Outlet does. So one of the challenges, go up there, and he's going to give you a quote on a set of tires. So when you need them, you can go get them. Well, one other thing we did, Charles was supposed to be part of the rally games with us, and then he's like, "Oh, I got to work." One of the challenges was to get, was it graffiti art? Is that what you said it was?
One of the challenges was to get somebody who was not on your team to draw a picture of your team. So when we had that on the thing, you said, you threw out there, if I were you, and you typed this out, if I were you, I'd have Charles do it. And then I said, bonus points if you get Charles to do it. P.S. He doesn't know he's part of this challenge, so good luck.
Yeah.
So he legitimately did not know.
What's that?
He legitimately did not know that he was part of the challenge until later that day when everyone starts asking him to draw him pictures.
Yeah, and you would think like if okay, maybe you wouldn't think if someone asked me to do that, you're getting stick figures, right? And not
Yeah.
even proportionate ones. And so what we did, we didn't even give people the challenges at check-in. Like we just checked everybody in, said, hey, we're gonna have a driver's meeting in a few minutes, had the driver's meeting, and once the driver's meeting was completely over, hey, team captain, step forward, here's your file, and gone. Like, bye, leave. And so people all found out at the same time at the last possible second. So people start strategizing and kind of planning, and they see, oh, if we get Charles to draw this picture for us, we get bonus points, and we got to go to Tire Outlet anyways. So like Jessica, for example, she freaking picks up the phone and she calls Charles. She's like, Charlie, hey, it's Jessica. I need you to draw a picture for me. All right, yeah, thanks. Gets off the phone. So Charles at this point hasn't seen anybody come in yet. We just started, but he's sitting there sketching out a picture. Now, the second we started, Nick and I split up, and Nick made a beeline for Tire Outlet to go get the footage.
Yep.
So Nick gets there, and tell him what you saw, Nick.
So I get there, and Charles has like this pretty damn detailed picture that he clearly had been working on for like 15 minutes, maybe 20, drawing a car, like, you know, coloring it in. And it had all this detail and like logos and stuff. And I'm
But
like,
he's only using what he has at the tire shop, so it's like blue pen and highlighter.
yeah, pretty much. So he shows me, he's like, check this out, buddy. I'm like, what's that? He's like, Jessica texted me, asked to draw a picture. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then no sooner did that happen, Pop and Smoke comes rolling in and they're like, hey, we need you to draw us a picture. And he's like, what do you mean? So they explained to him what happened. And I just laughed and I said, I told you guys he had no idea. And he was a good sport about it, but at times he was busy and teams kept coming in and he had to stop to draw these stupid pictures for everybody.
So funny.
It's good.
So he like gave it his all for this first picture. And then I'm sure they started looking more.
Yeah.
Well, not I'm sure. They started looking more like stick figures at the end of the day.
Yeah, he was busy. He had customers in there and we were asking him for pictures.
Funny.
Yeah.
So funny. So aromas, that was another thing, was to go up there and find a cigar, the Gurkha Ghost, which was one of the highest rated cigars in Cigar Aficionado, from a blind review that they did. Nick, that is not where a blind person smokes a cigar. That's where they smoke the cigar without the label, just so you know.
Okay.
Us fancy aficionados and connoisseurs know about this kind of stuffs. So people were to go to Aromas. They have a giant walk-in humidor and just thousands of cigars, and you got to go find a certain one, right? So people were in there just buying them. I mean, he had a sale going on that day on that specific cigar, you know, buy 3, get 1 free or something like that. But you didn't have to buy any. You just had to go find it and, you know, take a picture of it. So people were in there buying them. I know Jason got a fistful of them, and he was talking to me as he's ringing up, and he's like, man, I haven't had a cigar in forever. Like, this is so cool. I'm so excited about this. I mean, people were not only buying cigars like for themselves, they were buying it for, you know, fathers and friends and stuff like that. One of them went in there and not only bought a fistful of cigars, but they got a cigar cutter and a cigar torch and like the whole guillotine and all that. I mean, it was really cool. But my favorite thing was the throne. Good God. Did you see that chair?
Yeah, you asked me if we could buy it, and I said no.
Well, check the account, buddy, because we bought it. That thing was badass. This was like legit like a king's chair at a dining room table from like the 1300s, and probably not. I just made all of that up, but it was freaking pimp, man. And I know pimp, okay? Nick, tell him I know pimp.
He does not know anything about that.
This was pimp as hell.
But you did want the chair. You were sitting there in the chair smoking a cigar with the belt over your shoulder. And I walked in, I just about walked out.
The shirt was unbuttoned, like mid-chest, so it was slightly like, hey, yo, you know, like Razor Ramon.
Yeah.
I love that thing. So I sat there. I did a Facebook Live from there. People were walking in, talking smack to me. I wasn't having it. And then also at Aroma's abuse of executive power, they thought, hey, you know what? We're going to be smart about this. We're going to put our trucks up there, and we'll all just jump in the same vehicle. We're not going to bring these cars all over the place. Well, they left their trucks there, and another team rolled in and TP'd all their trucks. It was freaking hilarious.
One quick thing we forgot to say about the Tire Outlet things. Tire Outlet closes at 1:00, right? And and not every team had been there. So I do a Facebook Live from from Tire Outlet with Charles. And during the Facebook Live, Charles is like, hey, if I'm gonna leave some quotes out front so you guys can come up here and get them and still get your points. And he said, but if I'm the first team that comes up here, I'm taking all of them. taking every single one of them. So Marty and his team, Freight Train, I don't know if they heard that Facebook Live or not. They went straight up there and took all the rest of the quotes. So they blocked out the rest of the teams from getting any points from Tire Outlet, which is pretty awesome. I mean, I couldn't condone that or encourage it since I'm part of the company putting it on, but I absolutely would have done the same thing if I was another team.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. We learned your little cheating son bitch.
Oh, yeah.
So then one of the other things was go to Autobahn Indoor Speedway, which is where we had our pre-party for Road to the Dragon, and partake in the axe throwing that seems to be getting popular and catching on. And so the bottom line is you get there with your team, everybody gets one throw, shoom, thud, stick it on the wall, add up your score. It's like darts, and then you roll out of there. People were given a little like a bounce back coupon to come back and throw more and play and all that. But this was awesome to see everyone's faces go from so excited and ready to just absolutely deflating as they realized how hard it really is to get these things to stick. Mm-hmm. It's freaking hard, man.
Yeah, many teams had 0 points.
Yeah. In fact, the high score of the day after 4 throws was 80.
Yeah. So
that was cool.
And
go ahead.
I was saying, and we also decided to hide some boomerangs around town. One of them was at Autobahn, and was it the first team that got there found it? Yeah, Dirty Divas.
Yep, they have an actual like a Formula style race car there. Where you can like change the tires and do like a pit stop exercise and everything. And so I just took that thing and dropped it right down in the freaking cockpit of that race car, and they freaking found it, man. Mm-hmm. All right, let's start blowing through some of these a little bit quicker. Intersection shout out. We wanted people to at an intersection, put the window down, look at someone next to them, and let them know, hey, we're doing all this stuff in the community today. One of the teams got the window rolled up on them. It was freaking hilarious. Corner Bistro, we wanted you to go there and tell us who the proprietor of the building is. And Team Freight Train discovered they were never actually really in parking spaces. You'll have to ask them about that.
How they didn't know that.
Fountain. Oh, go ahead.
How they didn't know that, I'll never know, because they literally parked 4 wide in the roundabout right in front of Corner Bistro.
So it was in the roundabout?
Yeah, there were 4 wide blocking the entire road.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So another one, Friendship Fountain. Everyone knows this spot down by the Mosh Museum of Science and History, right on the river, across from downtown. Big, colorful fountain. So we said, hey, go take a team photo. And Nick was like, I don't want to look at a bunch of team photos. Bonus points if you make me laugh, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever. That's harmless. What could go wrong? So fast forward to the end of the rally games, Nick and I split up at 2 separate tables so that we can both start checking teams in and checking their scores. Well, next thing you know, there's a team photo with someone in the background with their pants down bent over. I'm looking at ass cheek, right?
Yeah.
So Nick puts a challenge out there, see if you can make me laugh, and I end up looking at some guy's ass. How does that work?
Here's the thing. He was fully committed to doing it. It wasn't like a little bit of crack. It was like dude's pants were down around his knees, basically.
Oh, yeah. So thank you for that, Nick.
You're welcome.
And which, by the way, not only did it make Nick laugh, made him laugh even harder that I had to stare at it. Mm-hmm. Photo from sports teams complex. So we wanted you to take a picture in front of the Jaguars stadium, in front of the Jumbo Shrimp baseball stadium, and in front of the Jacksonville Icemen hockey arena. And some of you didn't know that the Icemen played at the arena downtown, and you went to the Iceplex off of University or Emerson, off Emerson. And what's funny is the Icemen are directly across the street. The arena is directly across the street from the ballpark where the Shrimp play baseball. So some of you literally stood at the arena to get a picture of the stadium across the street, and then left to go get a picture of what you thought was where the Icemen played. So I thought that was funny. Okay, this one's like hands down the funniest. Am I sharing my screen? Can you see this?
I can see it.
Okay. Guys, this one like takes the freaking cake, is the funniest shit ever. So we said, okay, in the year 2019, you need to go to the library, Jacksonville Library, any location, Jacksonville Library, get you a library card, check out a book, and bring us a book to the finish line. We don't give a fuck what it was. Any book, just bring us a book, right? And people did it. And they were telling me, like, we're at check-in and we're going through the paperwork and checking their scores, and they're like, hey, man, I haven't had a library card in years. Yeah, it was kind of cool going in there. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. So one of the people, what team was it? Dirty Divas?
No, Beating You.
Was it Beating You?
Yeah.
Goes in there.
No, Dirty Divas. Dirty
Divas.
Sorry.
Okay, goes into the Jacksonville library, signs up to get a library card, only to find out she has an account and she owes $40 in late fees.
Mm-hmm.
And she paid it.
She paid it. She definitely paid it.
Oh my God. Like,
and by the way,
really
the books that were checked out were not just random books. They were, all the books that I saw were like muscle car related books. Like they went to the car section and specifically found books to bring out. Like if it were me, I'd have just grabbed the first thing I saw and ran out of there, but it's not the case.
Yeah.
And another Jessica told me she had to wait over 20 minutes in line to get her library card.
Really?
Yeah. She's like, I had to sit there for 20 minutes in line, but she got it. So
that's funny. Let me see. Graffiti team picture. Oh, so this was a different one from the Charles one. I had it mixed up. So someone had a kid draw it for him, like a complete stranger had a kid draw it, and I guess you said it was actually really good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it probably took the kid 5 minutes to do, but it's a recreation of the picture of Smokey and the Bandit's T-Rex picture. So they showed him a picture of that, and the kid redrew it, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Rockstar autograph. Oh, you wanted a photograph of an autograph. That's what this one was.
Yeah, photograph of an autograph.
Yeah, and someone found Leonard Skinner's autograph. And obviously they're like the hometown heroes here in Jacksonville. So that was pretty cool. Jukebox. He had to find a jukebox. And I guess there's more of these than we thought.
Yeah, I mean, I figured there'd be a few around town, but more people sent them than I would have expected. The sunburn one was pretty funny too, because some people, man, like there was this girl, she is pretty fair skinned. Her legs were bright red and her shoulders and arms were white. So she definitely was in some pain. Definitely.
Yep. Titanic pose, the famous Jack and Rose Titanic pose. This was a guy heavy event. So it was really funny to see guys with their hands around each other's hips, arms out, doing the Titanic pose. Here's the funny thing. A few people, like more than one team, actually found freaking boats. Not just found boats, got on the freaking boats to do this picture.
Yeah. Dirty Divas, the boat, it looked like they were on probably maybe a 30-foot center console. They're just standing off of the front. It's pretty awesome.
Yep. Someone went to Adventure Landing, and in the parking lot, they had this like rubber boat, and it's like a playground thing for kids, and they stood on the front of that and did their Jack and Rose.
Smart.
Wayne's World Bohemian Rhapsody scene in the car. I mean, you can imagine how that went. It was pretty standard.
Yep.
Witt's frozen custard, funny pictures. Just about everybody that was there ended up ordering a custard that day, obviously, because it was so damn hot. Bonus points arrive early to the finish line. So here's the thing. What time did it? Here, I got it right here. It actually said 5:30.
Show up by 5:30 and you get bonus points. 5:45, you get fewer bonus points. Anyone shows up after 6, you lose 15 points for every 5 minutes. To everyone's credit, everybody was there by 5:45. I don't think anybody was there beyond that.
Nope. We got there at 4.
We got there at 4, and we were just doing a quick Facebook Live to show which room we were in. And Jean Willette rolls up at about 4:15, 4:30. And, but also there was a reason to get there earlier, like he did, because there was still a boomerang in Bravos that nobody had found. So he spent about 45 minutes looking for this boomerang. He was tearing things up. He was opening like storage containers and moving their decorations around. Like he was hell bent on finding the damn boomerang.
Yeah, BK, the chick that works at Bravos, she like kept coming in and she's like, "Hey, I know your group's going to be arriving soon. You guys need anything else? Just kind of checking on us. Can I get you anything?" And John is sitting there holding on to the boomerang. He found it. And she's like, "Oh, you found the boomerang." She said that because I gave her the boomerang when I left that morning. I was like, "Hey, hide this, right? Someone's got to find it." So she looks at John. She's like, "Oh, you found the boomerang." He's like, "Yeah, I found it. Hey, listen, I moved all your stuff." Like, he's like, I was going through everything. So that was awesome. So we get there at 4, and everyone just starts freaking, showing up. John was obviously the earliest one. In fact, if you go watch the Facebook Live, you can hear him pulling up with his supercharger.
Yep.
So another thing was, like Nick told you the night before, Nick came up with a page of bonus. I called them riddles, but more like typical scavenger hunt things. And so the first one was charcoal, and it read, "It's black when you buy it, red when being used, and white when you're through." And the answer was charcoal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Nick created this. He owned it. This was his baby the night before. And he asked me, he's like, "Hey, what do you think?" And he sent it to me. I didn't really look at it. I was like, "Yeah, it looks great. Night, Nick." And I went to bed, right? So I'm sitting there, and I'm checking people's scores, and I grabbed this sheet. I'm like, "Let's see how you did here." All of a sudden, thud on the table, and people dropping full bags of charcoal. And I'm looking at them. I'm like, what are you doing? And it caught me off guard. I had no freaking idea. So people were like dumping charcoal on me, but they got the points. Another one, it folds when young and cracks in half when old. What was the answer, Nick?
A leaf.
A leaf. And what did Marty think it was? And what did he bring you, Nick?
A tortilla shell. And he sat there and argued with me about if it counted or not. And I said, "But Marty, that's not the right answer." He's like, "Yeah, but it cracks when it gets old." I'm like, "But it's not the answer." And he's like, "But it cracks." He's like, "Give me the points. Give me the points." He did not get the points for it. It wouldn't have mattered anyway, though.
Holy shit, Marty! I would have gave you the points.
The team that won by a lot, so it wouldn't have mattered regardless. But yeah, he brought a tortilla shell, and someone else brought a twig, which I guess could have worked as well, but a leaf.
Yeah.
The right answer was a leaf.
Another one. Find an AOL. What's AOL? For all you friggin' millennials, it's American Online, and it used to come in a disc in the mail. So we said, find an AOL disc. Good luck. And I mean, seriously, good friggin' luck. Good riddance. And John Willette, now he kind of got screwed, I feel like. I mean, his team like disbanded in the middle of the day. But John went to his mom's job and started searching her office, looking for an AOL disc. Couldn't find one, and when you're thinking, "Oh, well, he tried." Nope. He then went to his mother's storage unit and spent 30 to 45 minutes on the hottest day since I can remember searching for an AOL disc and never did find one.
Nope. We had somebody who showed me a picture of one and asked if that counted, and I said no on that. But yeah, he definitely gave it all the effort you could possibly give to find a disc that they probably stopped making 15 years ago. But at one point, you could find it every Walmart, Kmart, Target, anywhere. But nobody found one, which is pretty funny. Also, surprisingly hard to get was an actual physical pizza restaurant application, which was another challenge.
Send everybody online nowadays.
Yeah. So John Willette again went into a pizza shop. He said there were like 4 16-year-olds just sitting at a table eating pizza, all the employees. And they kind of jumped up and he was like, "Hey, do you guys got an application?" And they looked very, very confused as to why he drove up in a badass Grand Cherokee Trackhawk and he's asking for a pizza or a pizza application. So they gave him one, but he actually made them write the name of the restaurant on the application just to prove that it was actually for the pizza place.
Yeah. So multiple people had funny stories about getting pizza applications. One of them slapped it down and said, "Look, it even has pizza sauce on it," and it damn did. And they were like, "Bonus points for that, right?" Yeah, no
bonus points for that.
I don't know. So what else do I have here? Let me see. Coin from the birth year, foreign currency, red paper clip. I don't know, man. I mean, people got there 45 minutes before we ever even opened registration. We said get there at 9, and 8:15, there y'all were.
Yeah.
Ready to go. It was freaking hot. So 9 a.m. and your boy was drenched in sweat already.
Yep. So then we get to we get everyone tallied up. and we start playing some laser tag. And what John was alluding to earlier was when
You're
killed,
cheating son of a bitch.
when I would get killed in laser tag, I would say to whoever was near me on my team, use me as a human shield, and they just walk behind me as I walk towards the person who shot me.
Well, let's talk about
Then I would
getting
proceed
killed in laser tag.
But then I'd
okay?
proceed to
It's-
grab the
it's
tip of the
laser tag.
gun.
You can't just lay there on the floor and start screaming, "I'm hit! I'm hit!"
No,
Nick, it's not. You're not really hurt.
I didn't do that. I said, well, because once you're shot, you can't get. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. Nothing hurts. So I would say, come with me. I'm a human shield. I'd walk up to whoever's shooting me. One time it was Vince. One time it was you. I would literally grab the end of their gun and point it up towards the ceiling while my teammate shot and killed you guys. And you guys got mad. Ooh, you guys were pissed.
I was new to the laser tag because you guys had played 2 or 3 games before I ever even got in there to play with you guys. So I had to get a special debriefing. But yeah, I turned the corner. You and I were face to face, and I panicked, and I shot you, and I won, and I got you, and now you're all glowing red. Like with lights on your chest and everything. And you had a chick behind you, I believe, the same chick that had a $40 library fee earlier in the day, and she's on your team. And so I go to like shoot around you, and he did, y'all. He grabbed the freaking end of my gun like it was a damn stick shift. And when I went to point up, his hand just went with it. When I pointed down, his hand went with it. And so I'm sitting there and like you can feel the shots, like because there's CO2, so it's like brap, brap, brap. So I'm sitting there shooting, and I'm like, you fucking asshole, like move. And all of a sudden I hear, and Nick lets go of the gun, and he goes, "He's out of bullets. He's right here behind the wall. He's out of bullets."
Yeah, that was fun.
Nick was not making any friends. So another thing is they had us pinned down. So there's like 2 separate entrances into the laser tag arena, one for Team A and one for Team B, and there's 2 different bases, and they freaking had us pinned down, man. They like got over to us and started shooting. So you would like have to go back to your base to like respawn and come back. And the second you walk out, boom, they'd get you again. They were like above us, next to us, below us. It was.
You know who that was, right? That was me. Because right by the camouflage people's spawn area where you were, there's like a window that's got these wood slats. So I lifted up some of the slats and stuck the barrel of my gun through, and I was shooting.
Can you hear you?
I was shooting into your base. So as soon as you guys hit the button to respawn, I'm just holding down the trigger. And then every time I ran out of bullets, I figured out how to reset it. So I would just drop the magazine, reset, put it back in. And I had 16 kills in one game because I just sat there killing you guys. And BK was like, "No spawn kill." And I'm like, "Okay." And I just kept doing it.
Do you hear you?
Yeah. I treated
It's
it like
laser tag. I moved some of the wood slats at a window so that I could kill you at your base. Do you hear you?
The wood slats were there to be moved, but they're for you guys to shoot out, not for people to shoot in. But yeah, I treated it like it was playing Xbox, and it was fun. It was a good time.
So anyways, in one of the games that we play, guys, I want you to picture this. You're like in a locker room, and you go to a locker and you grab a vest and you grab a gun, right? So like I'm getting into this, and this is my first game, and I'm like, here we go. And people were like, hey, I want to use this gun. And yeah, well, I'll use that gun, and blah, 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 blah. Well, what we didn't know is the guns are paired to the vest and the lockers, right? So we get into the game, and what would happen, let's say me and Kevin traded guns before we went into the game. All of a sudden, I get shot. Well, Kevin, at the other end of the room, nowhere near anybody, his vest would light up. Because we had mixed up the guns. So we had people that were not getting shot, dying, and vice versa. And we also had people thinking they were shooting that were not shooting. So we're getting freaking smoked, like getting 0 points. And finally, the guy that works there comes in. He's like, I'm going to reset it. We're starting over. You guys mixed your guns up. So I'm like, hey, guys, like, come back over here. He's going to start it over. Game over. He's starting it over. Reset. There's an issue, right? Nick's walking out of the freaking laser tag arena, gun over his head, and he's like, I'm the man. I'm the champ. You suck. You suck. I'm the man.
The MVP.
Like, Nick, relax. Nick, there's an issue. I'm the best. Nick, there's an issue. I'm the man. Nick, he's resetting it. We got the guns mixed up. Sounds like a camouflage problem. You suck. I'm the man.
And here's the thing. I was purely doing that because the prior game, I think I had like 3 kills and 25 deaths. And I knew that the next game was going to just be a bloodbath against me. So I had to go with it while I could. The next game, I think I went 7-7, but I went 16-4 that game where I told everyone they sucked and that I was the MVP. But it was a total fluke and I knew it. I just had to play it up for sure.
So once I had realized, okay, so they're just cheating, I'm like, all right, well, I can do this too. So we go into the game, into the arena. Now, mind you, there's 2 separate doors. There's Team A, Team B. So there's like this locker room, and there's a room there's a door all the way to the left and a door all the way to the right, and they kind of get you to different parts of the arena so that you can start at different areas. So we go to start. We walk through our door, and all of a sudden we hear the boop, 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 and it's about to start. Backhand John Willett in the chest. I said, hey, man, why don't we just go right back where we came from, through the locker room, and just go right through their damn door? Go right to them. He didn't think about it. He didn't hesitate. He goes, oh, yeah, let's go. And he was gone. I'm now catching up to John.
Mm-hmm.
So he was more than willing. And more importantly, why would he do that? Because you're a cheating son of a bitch, and you'd pissed him off. He didn't even have to think about it. Hey, John, let's go over here and get Nick. Oh, fuck yeah, let's go. And he was gone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was awesome. It was a good time that we were all out of breath. And
dude, yeah.
It got hot in there. It was like it was like a locker room at that point. But there was this, on our side, there was like ramps, because you can like take a ramp up to the 2nd level and then zigzag the other way, ramp up to the 3rd level. And it was steeper than I thought. And like, I'm like game 1. I told you guys like they had played a few. I'm game 1. I'm like, let's do this. Like, grab my gun. And I'm like, I'm going to storm this ramp. I get like halfway up the ramp and I'm like, and it was freaking steeper than I thought. Next day, I'm sore. I'm still a little bit sore.
I wasn't sore, but I was damn sure tired. I don't know that it was actually hot in there. I think it's just that we're all old and we're all a little overweight, and we were just running around each game was only 8 minutes. It felt like 2 hours.
Oh, yeah, it was a marathon for us.
Yeah, but it was fun. That laser tag is a whole lot of fun. It gets pretty intense in there too, but it was cool. All right, so laser tag's over. Everyone back in the room. It's time to award some prizes.
Yep.
And we had tallied up everything. The belt stolen, well hidden. Someone went back in there while we were playing, and they hid the belt again, which is fine, But it was funny, but it's fine.
Yeah, I'm like, guys, are you serious right now? Where's the belt? And they're like, are
you were
serious?
freaking out a little bit.
I'm like, am I serious? Like, yeah, where's the fucking belt? People are looking at me thinking I'm like pranking them, like, hey, where's the belt, guys? And we're waiting to award this thing, and I'm like, are you guys freaking kidding me right now? Like, get the fucking belt.
Yeah. Well, you were freaking out a little bit about it. I was just like, the belt's gone. The belt's gone. So anyway, we started awarding prizes. It's funny that the team that talked the most trash, if not the most, they were a really close second. Came in last place, Smoking the Bandits. But you know what? They had a blast. They had a really good time. They're the ones that had the cool artwork. They had funny pictures. They did the bag of trash and all that stuff. So it was really cool. They had a good time. But and 2 of the members from them drove up from Palm Bay, which is like south of Melbourne, just to do our event. And this isn't the first time they've done it. So thanks for coming out and doing that. It's awesome to have people travel to do our stuff.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And we work our way up the list, and we get to the top 2. And second place, Dirty Divas, which is pretty cool. They were part of Team Hell Hath No Fury for Sprint 2, which had like 16, 17 people, almost all women, for that particular team. And first place was Beating You, or Be Eating You. Which is it?
There's not an I in it.
Right. I know that much.
That's all I know.
That's a test. I tested Stacy.
That's all I know is there's not don't put a freaking I in it.
So these two teams, though, played the game and played it well. The team that won, beating you, did, I think they may have done every single challenge on the 5-page list and most of the stuff on the extra page.
Well, they also had you got bonus points for extra shares because, again, the whole idea was to get as many eyes on the good that you guys were doing for the community as possible. And on one of the challenges alone, they had 64 shares.
Yeah, but that was the...
I don't even have 64 friends.
That was the challenge for the carpool karaoke in the dealership. So that one you didn't get bonus points for those particular shares. But they played the share game right. I mean, they had a lot of shares, but they did everything. They came in, all of them came in with library books. They did the bag of trash. They did all the picture challenges. They went into Charles. They did everything. And both of those teams, though, the first and second place team, were all from Hell Hath No Fury from Sprint 2, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. And you and I had split up again to get the footage, and so we ran into a lot of these teams. But every time we ran into either one of them, they didn't stop to talk, man. They just they were moving. Yeah,
and it's funny, at the award ceremony or whatever we want to call it, I mentioned, that team beating you was pretty well focused on the prize because I was up at Tire Outlet. They showed up and I said, "Oh, where you guys been?" And they didn't really answer. And they went and got their thing from Charles and they got the picture. And then as they're going back out, I'm like, "Where are you guys going now?" And they didn't answer. And Stacy laughed and she's like, "I didn't even know you were at Tire Outlet." And I said, "I know, because you guys were focused on the prize. You were focused on winning." So, all in all, I think it was a really good day. It was a long day for everybody. I mean, everyone was just like, "I'm friggin' dead. I want to go home and go to sleep."
Nick was worried about me at one point.
Well, yeah, because for those of you that listened to our last podcast, you heard the story about our little off-roading trek in the Daytona as we were going down to Orlando.
Had it the whole time.
Yeah. So we're on the phone. I'm following him. We're going to go check in on a couple of teams earlier in the day. And I'm behind you, and we're talking. And
we're going down Hodges.
We turn left on Hodges, and we're going about 40, 45. And all of a sudden, you go 45-degree angle straight off the road. And there's a pretty good gap from the road to the grass where you actually went off.
Yep.
And I was like, "Holy shit, are you okay? What the hell just happened?" And you're like, "Nick, the guy's selling peaches." I was like, "Jesus Christ." I thought you just saw some grass and thought, "Let's do it again." But
oh man, I'm freaking driving. I'm on the phone with Nick, and all of a sudden there's a guy sitting there with a basket of peaches for sale, and I was just like, "Rrr."
Yep.
Never once did I panic.
Never once.
I pulled up next to Jessica at one point. She was driving the Demon that day. And I pulled up next to her, and half the horsepower, I start revving my engine at her as a joke. And she starts revving her engine back. And so I'm just like, vroom, vroom, vroom. And she's like, zzz, zzz, with that freaking supercharger behind me. And she pulls up next to me, puts the window out. She starts laughing. She goes, "It's in eco mode." And I'm like, "Okay, tell your supercharger it's in freaking eco mode." What the hell is eco mode on a Demon?
It's probably, I don't know, 720 horsepower.
Dude, that thing was whining so freaking loud. And then she tells me, "Yeah, I'm conserving gas." Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was awesome. It was a really good time, man. I thought it went really well. Everyone had a good time, and again, we did so much good for the city. And a lot of people just said it felt really cool, to give a little girl a gift card, to buy someone a tank of gas that wasn't expecting that to happen. It was just really cool stuff. So be on the lookout for Rally Games 2 next year. Maybe make this one an annual event. People had enough fun that they said, in light of the wrestling style championship belt, "All right, now we got to do a Money in the Bank contest." I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" They're like, "We got to get a briefcase, and inside will be a contract to challenge the winning team for the belt. And so what we should do is another scavenger hunt." And they're just planning this whole freaking event in front of Nick and I. And they're like, "And then we can go take them for the belt, but there has to be at least 3 things. So maybe it's go-kart racing." And we're just like, holy shit, there's some thought here. Maybe we'll do that.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So did you order a briefcase?
I did not order a briefcase, at least not yet.
Order a briefcase.
I'm not doing that.
He's going to do it.
We'll paper mache make one.
I feel good about it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, thanks for everyone for coming out and doing that. As we said, on all the podcasts in that day, we do car events, with rolling car shows with cool experiences along the way, whether it's a NASCAR track or just a really cool drive or go-karts or whatever the case may be. And this was definitely not the usual event that we would put on. But I think it went really well. Everyone seemed to have a really good time. We had some new followers come along. We created some new friendships and some new bonds with some people. And, I think it was all in all, it was a really cool day, and it was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun. And, I think if we do it again, we'll have to have the defending champions will have their work cut out for them, because I know there's a few teams that are not happy they didn't win, and they'll come for the belt for sure.
Yep. Just a lot of memorable stuff too. I've never seen anyone get blacklisted from a laser tag arena before.
I didn't either. So I'll go back there.
But she don't want to see you back there.
Yeah,
you ain't right.
I wasn't trespassed. I'll be there.
Yeah, guys, this was a long one podcast, but just wanted to share our stories, which really, if you listen back to it, they're your stories that you guys shared with us because we weren't participating. But real quick, just to let you guys know, Sprint 3, the trifecta has been announced. It is Saturday, July 20th, $20. It is available on genesisrally.com right now. That one's going to start around lunchtime, and it's going to include coastal roads by the beaches. It's going to include some farmland stuff, going through some pastures and stuff like that. It's even going to include some winding canopy roads by the river. And it's going to end at the PDQ Cruise-In over there in Fruit Cove. That's always a great cruise-in with a ton of cars. So that'll be a good one. It's on sale now. People are already jumping into that one. And then Gather at the Garage, the first Sunday every single month. The very first Gather at the Garage ever is next Sunday. Hard to believe, but it's next Sunday, July 7th, from 9 a.m. to noon at Detail Garage off of the Arlington Expressway. So you can check out Gather at the Garage Facebook page, and we've got information on our Facebook page as well. And I believe Detail Garage has it on theirs as well. And in that one, we found out about Hunter, a local kid who was badly burned back in February, 3 years old, and he's still recovering from that. So he's been moved from, I'm going to get the story wrong, I think it was like Shands to UF Health. Right now he's in Boston, and he's going through surgery after surgery and treatment after treatment, and the family's at a time of need and they need help. So there's fundraisers going on around Facebook. We already had this event planned, so what we're going to do is we're going to do 50-50 raffles. I know Jackson at Detail Garage is going to raffle off some stuff, donate some prizes to raffle off, and we'll come up with something too, Nick. And we're going to try to raise some money, and 100% of the proceeds are going to go to Hunter's recovery and his family. So all makes, all models, all car clubs, set differences aside and come out to this, and let's get behind this really good cause. And I think it's going to be a good time.
Yep.
Which, by the way, there's a couple hundred people already marking themselves as going or interested in that event. So it's going to be a big one. It's going to be a good one. Anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Can I say the line?
I don't care. I'm going to cut it out, so it doesn't matter.
Bada boom. Realest guys in the room. Hit him with it, Nick. Nick, you got to hit him with it. All right. Bye, party people.
It's all about the game and how you play it. It's all about control, and if you can take it, it's all about your debt, and if you can pay it, it's all about the pain. Who's gonna make it? I am the game. You don't wanna play me. I am control. There's no way you can shake me. I am your debt, and no you can't pay me. I am your pain, and I know you can't take me. Play the game, you're gonna be the same. You're gonna change your name, you're gonna die in flames.